Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Atia here at Booking It with Atia, and today we are going to do my YONCÉ-A-THON TBR. If you don't know what YONCÉ-A-THON is, I will have the announcement video linked down below. Essentially, it is a readathon that I created earlier in the year. It is Beyoncé inspired, and in the month of September, we're doing another full month round centering Beyoncé's film, Black is King. So to get all the details about that, all the information about the prompts and everything, make sure you check out that announcement video. So if you're not already following on all of my social media, I highly recommend you do, especially my Bookstagram. I give more bookish content over there, including more frequent and in-depth reviews on the books that I finish. Also, make sure that you are subscribed. All right, before we jump into my TBR for YONCÉ-A-THON, let's just show the board. We have 5 main challenges and then the bingo board. Again, not gonna go in depth to like what all of these are because there is an announcement video for that. But essentially, the main goal of YONCÉ-A-THON is to hit the 5 challenges, and as an extra challenge, we call it ultra success, would be getting 3 in a row on the bingo board, and then supreme success would be hitting all of the prompts on the bingo board. As the creator and one of the co-hosts, I of course am going for supreme success, and I have 6 or 7 books that I think are going to help me accomplish that. First up, we have The Griot by Valerie S. Thomas. This I'm going to read for the prompt of Ja'are, which is to read a book featuring Black artistry or storytelling. And this is a fantasy world in which it's like an alternate timeline because it's set in 2014. This person created a settlement in Africa's Serengeti for African Americans, and then 200 years later, the kingdom of Za and the citizens who inhabit it are thriving until one of them is forced into a secret world that will challenge everything she's ever believed about herself and her kingdom. And basically we have Zen, which is our main character. She's getting married, she believes all her dreams are coming true, and then she's forced to join the Griothood, which is the secret society of storytellers. I am so absolutely excited for this book. The entire premise, I mean, just the fact that it's an alternate timeline, we have a settlement in Africa that's specifically for those of us whose ancestors were stolen from the continent and brought over here, and it deals with storytelling as a way of magic and being able to save a community. I think is going to be incredible. I'm really looking forward to diving into this one, and this is it's a little chunky. It's around 420 pages. I'm feeling self-conscious because like right before filming this video, one of my nails broke. And of course it's on my right hand, which is the hand I use to hold up book, so that's just fantastic. Moving on. Next up, we have The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I will be using this for the prompt of Already and Brown Skin Girl. I will say that all of the books on my YONCÉ-A-THON TBR fulfill the prompt of Spirit, which is to read a book by a Black author featuring a Black character. So that's why I'm not going to necessarily say this one is for Spirit, because all of these cover the Spirit prompt. But getting back to The Hate You Give, I mean, Thug is a book we probably all know about, and already the prompt for Already is to read a coming of age story. I very much think this is a coming of age story, not in that every Black kid sees their best friend murdered by police, but in the fact that she really kind of comes into her Blackness and what it means to be a Black person and be Black youth in this country and finding her voice. That's the coming of age aspect of this book for me. We also have Brown Skin Girl, which is to read a book that has a movie or TV adaptation, and as an extra challenge, try and watch that movie or TV adaptation. So I will be reading this probably at the beginning of the month and then watching the movie towards the end of the month. I don't think I can deal with consuming them back to back. I weep every time I see the movie. This is going to be my first time rereading The Hate You Give. It's one of my favorite books. It's going to be my first time rereading it. I am scared for that emotional journey. When I read it, I wasn't really a crier for books. Now I very much am. So I can only imagine what's going to happen. Quick synopsis with this one. We have Star. She's bouncing between two worlds. Garden Heights, which is where she lives. It's a predominantly black, slightly impoverished neighborhood. That's where her family is. And then she heads out of town to a private, predominantly white school. She witnesses one of her best friends being murdered by police and has to watch as his name and his character is essentially dragged through the mud. She is the only one, besides the cop, she's the only one who witnessed what happened, and she has to make a decision whether or not to stand up for herself, stand up for her community, and get justice for her friend Khalil. Next up, I have actually two books here for the same prompt. And it's funny enough, they have very similar covers. Not covers, but their colors are kind of similar. So we have Twisted by Emma DeBerry, and this is just an exploration of black hair culture, not specifically in America, I think just universally black hair culture. Then we have Wandering in Strange Lands, A Daughter of the Great Migration Reclaims Her Roots by Morgan Jerkins. These two books I'm thinking about reading for the other side prompt, which is to read a black nonfiction book. I picked up this one because, one, it sounds interesting. This is about the author kind of reclaiming that idea of the Great Migration when so many black Americans moved from the South and they moved north and to the Midwest and to the West as well. And just tracking that to understand her own past. She wrote This Will Be My Undoing, which is actually one of my absolute favorite nonfiction books. I need to find it so I can reread it. And so when I found out that she had another book coming out, I was like, absolutely. But Twisted has been on my TBR, I think, the past 2 months. So I really want to get to this one as well. Hopefully I'll just end up reading both. Next up, we have another new release, Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. And this is for how many prompts? So there's 3 prompts. This one is for, the first one is Black Parade, which is read a book with intersectional black identity. This one follows a queer protagonist pursuing a queer relationship. So that's how it covers Black Parade. It also covers the prompts of Scar, which is a black retelling, and Water, which is black love. The love interest in here is another black girl, and this is a sort of Cinderella retelling. It takes place in the same world as Cinderella, 200 years after Cinderella. And we have our main character who doesn't want to go to this ball where all these men, or boys, I guess, young boys probably, are going to pick their future wives. She's in love with her best friend, and so they decide they're going to skip town. I believe we also meet one of Cinderella's descendants, and we're apparently going to get like a different side of that story. So I'm very interested in seeing how this author kind of breaks this trope, breaks this retelling wide open, and explores it from a different perspective. Next up, we have Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Why do I never know how to... Hey Siri? Who's the author of Things Fall Apart? Oh, thank you. When in doubt, ask Siri. So next up, we have Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. This is going to complete 3 prompts. Nile, which is a classic African novel. My Power, which is read a book written by a non-US born black author. And then Find Your Way Back, a book set in an African country. I've had this for years, probably ever since I started building my book collection in college. I've had this book because it's one of those books that's, considered, it is a classic, And so I was like, I want to read this eventually one day, and that eventually one day is going to be today. Not really today, but someday in September, within the next 40 days. And what is this about? So Things Fall Apart tells 2 intertwining stories both centering on Okonkwo, a strong man of an Igbo village in Nigeria. The first, a powerful fable of the conflict between the individual and society, traces his fall from grace with the tribal world. The second, as modern as the first is ancient, concerns the clash of cultures and the destruction of Okonkwo's world with the arrival of aggressive European missionaries. What? These perfectly harmonized twin dramas are informed by an awareness capable of encompassing at once the life of nature, human history, and the mysterious compulsions of the soul. Wow. What? I didn't realize that it was two intertwining stories, both centering the same character. Okay, this just became like 3,000 times more interesting. I was already interested, but it's one of those interesting things where, like, you know you want to read the book because when you picked it up, you were interested. And then you read the synopsis again, and you're like, whoa, why haven't I picked that up sooner? And that's what's happening with this book. Last up on my list is a book that I've been wanting to get to ever since it came out. And we have Daughters of Enri by Rennie K. Amayo. This, as you can tell, is a black fantasy featuring twin sisters. I mean, what? And this fulfills the prompt. It fulfills three of them. Keys to the Kingdom, which is a book featuring royalty, Bigger, which is a book featuring family, and then Mood Forever, which is a book with a black protagonist without trauma, or without centering around trauma. And are they fighting against each other? Twins separated at birth, blah 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 blah. Ooh, okay, they're not fighting against each other, thank God. I think that's another book. I think that's River of Royal Blood that I keep getting confused. But can they defeat the man who brought the gods themselves to their knees? All right, so these twin goddesses or princesses? Who are you? Twin goddesses who were separated at birth, made to believe that they're human because this, like, man person, I guess, went to take over their kingdom or their world. And so now they have to find their way back to each other. That's literally the name of one of the songs on Black is King. Anyways, they have to find their way back to each other and then defeat the man who defeated the gods before them. What else do I have to say? Also, this cover is gorgeous. I mean, what? I'm very excited for this. I have full faith that I will get to all of these books in September. I do have a separate September TBR, right? Which is the video I'm going to film right after this, that I want to get to, but I will be prioritizing my YONCÉ-A-THON reads. I think what I'll do is that at any given moment, I do read more than one book at a time. So at any given moment, I'll most definitely be reading a YONCÉ-A-THON book. That's my plan. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. That is my TBR for YONCÉ-A-THON. If you made it this far in the video, please leave the crown emoji or even just the word crown in the comment section below. Tell me, will you be joining us for YONCÉ-A-THON? And if so, what are you planning to read? Are you going for success, which is hitting the 5 challenges, ultra success, which is the 5 challenges and a row of bingo, or supreme success, which is the 5 challenges and the entire bingo board? Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and that you have the notification bell clicked so you're notified every time I release a new video. Check out all of my social media, which is in the description bar below, my Goodreads, my blog. Also, oh my goodness, should have said this at the beginning, I opened up a Depop shop. So I have a bunch of books that I am going to be selling at very good prices. A lot of the times it's half the retail price or lower. I have books I've never read. They're in brand new condition, $5 flat rate shipping. So you could buy 10 books from me and your shipping will be $5. Like, that is a guarantee. Well, 10 books in one shot. Your shipping will be $5. So I will definitely have that link down below. Check it out. I like completely messed up my outro, so I have absolutely no idea where I was in that entire monologue of things I say at the end of videos. Follow the YONCÉ-A-THON Twitter, please. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me, I'm in the sky.